Welcome, one and all, ladies and gentlemen, to The Late Show. I'm your host, Stephen Colbert. It is important. Thanks, folks. Thank you. Wonderful, wonderful audience. You know, folks, it is important, I believe, to admit when you're wrong. We talk a lot about how Donald Trump is this corrupt guy who deserves to be dragged out of his office kicking and screaming. But when I'm wrong, I'll be sure to let you know. Not tonight. Because we just learned this afternoon he's just awful. And I'll tell you all about it in tonight's edition of Don and the Giant Impeach.
Quid pro quo 8 times.
Today, we got a first-hand witness to Trump going Ukraine in the membrane. Former U.S. ambassador to Ukraine and man whose eyebrows are testifying separately. Bill Taylor. Taylor sat down for the House impeachment inquiry this afternoon. Closed door. We don't have all the details yet. But sources in the room say his testimony was incredibly damaging to the president and that his opening statement was 15 pages long and prompted a lot of sighs and gasps. It was, hold on, hold the, what the,
you gotta hold
it was
that phone.
incredibly damaging to the president and it might get him impeached. Now, you may remember, Taylor was the diplomat who exchanged text messages with Trump conspirator, U.S. ambassador to the EU, and man beloved for his catchphrase, whatever you say, boss, Gordon Sondland. In one of their exchanges, Taylor texted Sondland, "Are we now saying that security assistance and White House meeting are conditioned on investigations?" To which Sondland replied, "Call me. Call me. But do not call me to testify before Congress, because I can't explain this." Now, we all imagine we know what happened on that subsequent call, but today, Taylor revealed what actually happened on that call. And it's exactly what you imagined happened on that call, because Taylor was told by Sondland that President Trump insisted that the release of Ukraine aid was contingent on a public declaration to investigate the Bidens and the 2016 election. Do you understand what this means? We finally have solid evidence of the crime that Trump and his chief of staff have already confessed to committing on camera. Taylor, it's true, John.
I mean, you figure
It's
if they
true.
said it, you know. Come on.
Taylor testified that Ambassador Sondland also told me that he now recognized that he had made a mistake by earlier telling the Ukrainian officials that a White House meeting with President Zelensky was dependent on a public announcement of investigations. Okay, well, the ambassador realized it was a mistake to make the White House meeting dependent on Ukraine announcing these investigations, because in fact, everything was dependent on such an announcement, including security assistance. So Trump was holding everything hostage. Just make the announcement, Ukraine, and I'll give you the White House trip, military aid to fight the Russians, and a beautiful new dinette set from Broyhill. And if you act now, I'll throw in this gently used Constitution. I don't really want it. Holding up military aid for political gain seemed kind of fishy to Taylor. But the ambassador tried to assure him it was completely normal. Quoth Taylor, "Sondland tried to explain to me that President Trump is a businessman. When a businessman is about to sign a check to someone who owes him something, he said, the businessman asks that person to pay up before signing the check." Well, that's a ridiculous analogy. When he was a businessman, Donald Trump never paid anyone. Although, never did. Never got a dinner. Although this time he might, because it's not his money, it's ours. And last night, to defend himself, Trump went to his safe space, Fox News. Sometimes you want to go where they don't ask about Ukraine. Now, Trump talked about the transcript of his phone call with Ukraine's president and assured us that he knew what it was not.
It's not a letter, it's a conversation taken down and transcribed.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. A phone call is not a letter. Go on.
They don't talk about that anymore because that letter was so good. That letter is a perfect conversation with a man. Congratulations on your win. And to impeach over a letter like that. But they don't mention the letter anymore.
No, they don't mention the letter anymore because it's not a letter, it's a phone call. But if Pelosi wants to impeach you over this, I say, letter. Then...
That's a good, clean attack. Great execution. Wonderful joke.
Then Trump argued, you can't impeach over something as innocent as a phone call that is not a letter.
It's one thing if you commit a real crime. This was a conversation. It wasn't even a big deal. Hey, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah.
Well, yeah, everything sounds innocent if you replace it with blah, blah, blah. I mean, remember this scene from Avengers?
What I'm about to do to your stubborn, annoying little planet. Blah, blah, blah.
Thanos did nothing wrong. Thanos did nothing wrong.
That man.
Then Trump complained about the way the media treats him.
You know who was covered worse than me, they say?
Who?
Abraham Lincoln. I've heard the one person, it used to be 5 or 6, now it's down to 1, Honest Abe Lincoln. They say he got the worst press of anybody. I say I dispute it.
Okay, Lincoln, great president, got bad press. I get bad press, therefore, I must be a great president. You know who really got bad press? Charlie Manson, greatest president ever. Trump was also asked about some Manson fans here tonight. All right.
Beautiful people.
Trump was also asked about possible 2020 opponents and made sure he got all his nicknames right.
The last time I took on Elizabeth Warren, I thought she was gone. Embers, you know, burning embers down.
Pocahontas.
And Pocahontas.
What a kiss ass. Teacher, you almost dismissed us without calling the exchange student a racist name. At one point, the interview turned a little wistful. With the election just around the corner, the president took a moment to remember those inspirational first moments.
We're getting down to 12 months. Can you believe it?
When
I first went right in that corner of that beautiful building, and I was in the first night with the First Lady, and I'm standing in an area where Abe Lincoln was, and all of them were, and that's the way it was. And I'm standing there, and I say, wow, 4 years, that's a long time.
Yes. Yes, it's an eternity. If a single dove... We got a great show for you tonight. Mr. John Lithgow is